Well, we took a trip over there to the local hydraulic shop where I get my seals, and they had what I needed in stock. I was really surprised there. So we got the proper piston seal right here, and then they had everything else that I need. We got the AN wiper right there. We even had the wear band, and then we've got the O-ring and the backup right there. All right, so we got everything we need to rebuild it, and I'm going to come back out tomorrow, and we're going to start rebuilding this thing. All right, so we're going to start this morning with the piston here. We're going to chuck it up in the 6-jaw, and then this is the new piston seal here. And even though it fits in there, it's a very snug fit. We're going to go ahead and make it to the specs in the book. It's 255 now with the calipers. We're going to make it to the 280 thousandths wide spec that the book says, okay? After I do that, I'm going to give this chrome a little bit of just a light polish to clean it up. Chuck should be running nice and true because I just mounted it this morning and adjusted it. Looks good. And we'll just use this tool right here. So with the mic, it feels like it's, so we're about 259 on the width there, so we got approximately 21 thousandths to come off of it. We'll just take it equally. There's one side right there. We'll get the indicator set. There's 10. Down, just touch the bottom of it there. I'm going to go ahead and just take 5 on this side, and then we'll mic it and see what we got left to take there. Looks like we got approximately, what, about 6.5. Yep. So we'll just call it 6. We'll take 6 thousandths there. So we were close. 6. We actually got half thousandths on this dial right here. So we'll just take 6.5, and for fun, we'll see how close we got. You do have a tolerance on these grooves. You don't have to be dead nuts on. I'm just cleaning up that groove there. Let's see where we ended up hitting our mark. So it looks like we got it 280. See that? All right, and we got the proper clearance for the seal to fit in there. All right, and then our I'll double check the diameter, but we were already on our 2 5/8 diameter. It was a couple thousandths big. So that's another reason why I cleaned the bottom of that up there too. So we need to just let me grab my other tool. We need to cut a little chamfer there. Break the sharp edges there, just like so. And move the indicator, and I want to break the front edge. It looks a little sharp for my liking. Okay, there we go. All right, let's start getting these seals in the gland here. So we'll start with the. Let's go ahead and start with the. This is the backup, right there. Put the backup in there. And that's going to be all the way to the front side, and the O-ring is going to push against it, the pressure there. I use a little bit of this Staplex red grease just to get things slippery for installation, and the hydraulic oil is compatible with this type of grease here. And we'll stick it in there under the back side of the backup ring and just work it in there just like that. So that is our rod seal right there. All right, and then I was going to mention I wire brushed all the inside of that with a little round wire brush with the air grinder to clean everything out. All right, and then we've got our AN style rod wiper right here. So our groove is nice and clean now. The wiper fits in there just like it's supposed to. Bam. All right, so that is ready to go. All right, for the piston seal, we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of grease on it to help get it to slide on. And then what we'll do is we'll drop it on right there. I'll put it up in here in the vise so it's a little bit easier to work with. Just using our soft jaws there. Start with the bottom and work our way around. Yeah, just like that. Just making sure that it's seated properly, and it is. And it doesn't hurt to have just a little bit of grease on there just to help slide it into the barrel once we install it. And then we got one last piece, and that is going to be the wear band. This is the new wear band right here. Put just a little bit of grease on that too, just to help keep it, or help it slide once it goes into that barrel. All right. I thought this was a simple solution to be able to install the rod in the barrel there. Just clamped it in the vise, and then using the moving jaw of the vise to be able to stop the rod from going down through there. We're going to be hitting the rod seal first, just like so. All right. Fingers out of there. All right, we're through now. So now it's just the wiper and the O-ring has the rod captured. So we should be able to just push it. The tube is beveled there on the end. All right, to allow the seal to press in there. All right. And there is some pressure there. Go. Rod's hitting the bottom of the vise. Now I'm going to take my cleaner and re-clean this end real well to make sure that there's no grease left on this from the install. And then once we go to do our weld, we're actually going to extend this rod all the way to the other end so that none of the heat gets to the piston seal here. So we'll have to make sure that this is aligned properly. I'm just using this punch to pull the rod. All right, and this hole is actually timed with the ports there too, so I'm just using it to pull the rod out some. And see, it's got it all the way out. I don't have this clamped very tight in this vise, by the way, so we're not distorting that tube. All right, so it feels good in there in the tube. And then so this is the back piece there. I've already got the bevel machined in it. We're just going to weld right into that V. All right, and then this square is going to line up with that piston. All right, and then just go right up in there like so, and that'll butt right into the end. And then we'll just have to turn this like so to align both of the ports to make sure our hole and our ports are all in line with each other. All right, and then once I get all this in line, I'm going to go over to the welding machine, over to the welding table. We'll get this tacked off, and then we'll slide our bracket on there, get it on there where we need to, and then go ahead and get the butt plate welded on. Here's another shot of that anti-rotation going together, just so everybody can see it there. All right, so we got our port side up, going in there just like so. Okay. Here's a cool way that you can align these holes visually, just by a sight right here with a straight edge. Use a set of these key seat clamps. Just clamp them to your rule and then just square it up. Just put the rule against your workpiece and the clamp over against the side, and it'll square it up perpendicular to the axis of the material there. And so I'm just lining it up with the port here, and then you can line it up with this hole here, and then down here I can just kind of rotate that and making sure that we're in the center of this hole here. So you're just using the straight edge there to make sure that we're in line. I've got my copper lead here wrapped around the tube, and my grounding lead clamped to that. That's providing the proper grounding to the tube there. So we're going to go ahead and just get it all tacked together like it needs to be. Just all wrapped around it. Should provide plenty of contact surface for a ground. All right, we've got our one good bead all the way around there to seal that bead up, and I'm going to let it cool now. And I can feel the warmth coming up there, up this side, so I want to go ahead and let it cool. And then we're going to go ahead and slide the bracket on there, because I want to put another bead there, but we'll slide that back on, and then I'll go ahead and put another filler cap on that side to fill that up, and then we'll finish tacking this back in place. But I want to let this cool down first before I put another weld bead on there. Cool down. Go ahead and slide her together. All right, and then so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get that on there so that I can go ahead and get another nice one more weld bead on this thing and build it up a little bit more, and then we'll get this tacked on. Last phase of the welding, we got a good second bead on there. It looks nice. I'm happy with it, and we're just going to get it clamped down, and I've got it positioned about where I want it. We're lined up on our ring right there as well, and I think I'm just going to clamp it with a C-clamp here like this. Just put it right about there. And I'll get it so I can get it tacked off, and then I can move it around where I want to. Like that. Yep, that's right where it needs to be. Our ring is lined up right where the rusty spot of the tube was. Got a little bit of a gap right there, so I stepped it up with the 1/8 wire to kind of help fill that gap. And it's a good time, good time to use this cup there. I've got the tungsten pulled out just a little bit further so I can reach down in there. That worked good. All right, last little bit there, and our welding should be done. See if I can get set up here. All right, that side did good. Come over here to this side and get it. Alrighty. All the welding is done now. We'll let her cool off and take a look at everything. Put it down on the table, help let it cool off a little faster. Alright, our cylinder is cool, and we're just going to stroke it in and out a little bit using our air gun. I'll put just a little bit of WD in there to help just provide a little bit of lubrication inside the bore. You know, it got dry in there because of all the heat there. So just using this air gun with the rubber tip here. Unfortunately, I don't have the proper fittings on hand to pressure test it, but I feel confident that the welds it's welded properly and it's not going to leak. So the issue at hand was the seals. Even though we found that bad weld on there, I know that it's welded up good. So we've got good seals in it. And by the way, the customer is going to repaint it. I'm not going to be repainting it there, but I did get it all cleaned up. So all they got to do is just wipe it off a little bit and just tape that up and just give it a coat of spray paint. So this thing is ready to roll. Well, there we go, guys. The cylinder is completed and ready to go. Other than paint, obviously it needs to be painted, but Fernando said that he is going to paint it just to save me a little bit of time and effort. And I don't have any black paint around here, but anyway, he said that he was going to take care of that on his end. So a couple things to take note of. Going back to earlier in the video when I talked about doing jobs like this where you got to cut things apart, it's important to take notes, such as the placement of the ports here in relation to the brackets, how they're timed, things like that. That came into play right here because whenever I had slid the bracket on there and welded, in my mind I was thinking the ports were actually up here on the top when this was down here on the bottom, and I messed up and I tacked it on there 90 degrees off on the wrong side. Even though I took the photos and told you, that's the proper thing to do is to go back on your notes and your drawings and things like that. I still messed up, still made a dumb mistake, but things like that happen. And I got it welded on there and noticed that it was wrong because I looked at my pictures and noticed that this was turned 90 degrees the wrong way. So I just cut those welds loose and rotated it 90, dressed those off, and then re-welded it there at the bottom. Okay, so we got that done, and I think my customers, which is Mom and my stepdad Fernando, are going to be happy with this. And we get it painted and get it put back on their RV there. And we've had a little bit of discussion. I've been sharing some photos of this on my Instagram page. Whenever my day-to-day activities is where I usually share my Instagram. So you guys, give me a follow over there, and you guys can see my, the stuff that I get into, week after week. And a lot of talks on this type of stuff right here being throwaways and uneconomical to repair because of the cost to replace it. I don't know what this unit costs. Fernando did not call, didn't try to source it. The manufacturer of the RV is no longer in business. It's an older one made back in the 90s. It's possible that it could be sourced, but who knows? You know, he didn't go through that effort of trying to find another cylinder. He just thought, just like every other cylinder that he's brought to me, that it should easily be rebuilt. So, you know, when he brought it to me, that's what I thought too. I didn't realize that it was like this until I started actually, you know, going to take it apart. I do think that because of how the manufacturer built this, that this would be considered economical to rebuild once you know how it actually comes apart and you're not spending a bunch of time trying to figure it out. So I honestly think that, you know, if you was to be doing this, once you know the system of what it takes to get it apart and everything, you could probably quote this rebuild right here anywhere from, let's say, about 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, something like that, and you know, be making some money on it, plus the cost of the parts. But that also determines on how much this cylinder costs new. You know, you may go down there to an RV dealership and they quote you $1,000 for the cylinder or $1,500. You just, I don't know. I really have no idea what this would cost. So, you know, if you can rebuild one and it's going to save somebody money, then it's worth doing that and making some money on. But, you know, in this case, I'm trying to help my family out, and you know, and I enjoyed doing it. So the other thing I was going to mention too is that I went ahead and whenever I was buying the seals, I went ahead and bought 4 total seal kits because there's 4 of these on the RV. Okay, so I knew that since one was already going bad, it's just a matter of time before the other 3 are going to go bad too. So if I can do one, I might as well just do the other 3 whenever the time comes. So I've got a kit right here with all of the piston seals, the rod seals, the rod wipers, you know, that kind of stuff. In this bag, I've got all the originals with the part numbers, and I've got it labeled there. And I'll have this so that next time this comes about, I'll know exactly how this comes apart, and I should be able to knock this out in just a few hours and get it done and have a rebuilt cylinder. All right. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon. Okay.